What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I decided I'm going to turn on the video and turn on my beautiful microphone, and I'm just going to let some shit riff here. We're going to see what comes out. I have an idea. Okay, let's just break it down. I just got off the phone with my therapist. Her name is Amber. She's my coach / therapist, whatever. Anyway, we talk every Monday afternoon. We have for a really long time, and she's amazing. During that conversation today, for whatever reason, her and I were super connected, and there was a lot of streaming ideas going on. And this thing popped into my head based upon all these different changes that have been going on in my world and in my business and the way I'm showing up, and I'm setting up all these different exciting, different avenues of selling things like journals and shirts and cups and different things like that, different affiliates and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's not even the point here. The point here is then I started talking about how I was in a meeting with a client and her new associate that's working for her. It was last weekend. We were in a meeting, and I was giving her new associate is new in the industry, and she's not done and built her own business before, built her own clientele. And I was talking about branding and about being your brand, and how when you choose to decide what you want to be known for, that's something you can use, right? For me, it was always from one of my first coaches, Kat Latorzo, it's being me. People hire me because of who I am and how I do my life. And that's why they hire me, because they see the things that I've created in the life that I live in those things, and that's why they want to hire me to help them create their life the way they want it to be, right? And I said along the lines there, because I have such a rich background in operations and project management, and I help people become more productive, there was this time that I called myself a high performance coach. And, back when I thought that I needed some sort of special title or something. But the elevator pitch for me back then was, "Hi, I'm Jamie. I help people get shit done." That was my elevator pitch. And so I became the get shit done girl. I became the get shit done queen. I became the girl who gets shit done. Blah, blah, blah. It was the thing, right? How many times can I say shit in 2 minutes? Anyway, just kidding. So that became a thing, which is part of who I am as a person. I do get an obnoxiously large amount of things done in small periods of time, which has its perks, and it also has its downfalls, because in your mind, then you are never enough, because, you don't measure up to normal people in your head. You have to do more, and even when you do more, it's not enough. So it's this unrealistic baloney balance that we create. Anyway, what I realized is yes, I absolutely still get shit done and help people get shit done. I don't believe in, and for many years, I do not believe in the hustle mentality. I think it's more harmful than it is good for most people. I've preached a lot about how the only reason that people are able to get a ton of stuff done is because they take good care of themselves, and so both must be a priority. But none of that language was ever stuck publicly, right? It never stuck with my brand. It was always Jamie helps you get more done. Because you think, I need to get more done. If I get more done, that must mean that I make more money, right? And that must mean I make more happy. No. Not true. A lot of times, if all you're focusing on is getting more done, you'll find more lack, because you're not focusing on other things. You're not acknowledging wins. You're not acknowledging those things, which is something that I help my clients with. Here's the fun fact. What my clients get to see and they get to experience with me, I don't portray very well publicly in my brand, to be honest. So maybe I hook ya with the get shit done. This is not intentional, but I think that's kind of what has happened in the past. I would hook people with that, and then they'd get in and be like, whoa, this is so much more than that. You're helping me with my whole life. I get to breathe. I get to have a better experience. I, do things my way, rewrite my rules, blah, blah, blah. All things that come with that. So I stopped saying, "Hi, I'm Jamie, I get shit done. I help people get shit done." Because I didn't want to be the person you came to for your productivity needs. Am I great at that? Absolutely. But that is literally a penny in the pond, consider it to the whole pond that I give you. And so it was funny because I feel like I got really quiet about certain things for a long time because I didn't want to be known for that anymore. But I didn't know how to explain to you this whole like happy seeking thing I've done, this whole peace seeking thing I've done, all of this excavation that I do with people, and where we get under the surface and figure out the why, and we rewrite the rules so that we don't have to relive bad experiences and we don't have to walk in circles anymore. And when we do walk in circles, we identify why we walked in that circle and what we need to do to change it and how we can do it. That's why my clients work with me for years and years and years, because I know all their circles they've been through because I've been through it with them. So I'm able to keep them bridging the gap faster, right? The gap that most people are jumping from one step to another. We can shrink it down as we continue moving forward with this work. That's what I've done in my own life. And so for some reason, it's like I decided in my head, I didn't want to be known for quote unquote getting shit done. I wanted to be known for creating a life that makes you happy. But guess what? They all go together. They work together. So it's really in the same concept. It's really in the same energy. For me now, instead of being like, hey, don't be lazy, which is something I used to say, right? Don't be lazy, get up off your ass and do shit. At the time, that's the messaging I responded well to. That's not who I am anymore. It's not necessary. Will I tell you the truth in a call and knock you off your butt if I need to? Absolutely. 100%. But it's with this compassion and with this guidance that makes it a productive move versus a, kid getting scolded and then they don't even know why, so they then relive it again. Something that I've had a hard time portraying is that the things that I do with people and the work that I do is what I do with myself, first of all. Every single day, all day, every day, I'm coaching myself through everything that I'm coaching everyone else through, like just different layers of it, because that's how it works, whether you realize it or not. But the thing for me that I've found over the years to be the biggest, like a huge priority, is that we make it sustainable. Like, I'm not going to support a client coming to me with a 13 list thing that they're going to start on January 1st. I don't believe in it. I don't want you to set yourself up for failure. Let's pick 3. Let's pick 5. Everyone's different, right? We pick based upon your experience and based upon what you're already doing and what it is that you're trying to create. We don't pick things to put on a list just for funsies. That's not why we do this, right? The truth is that my desire for someone to take control of their life, whatever that looks like for them, it does have an aspect of getting shit done, because it has to. If I wasn't able to be productive in small periods of time, which is something that I've mastered, if I wouldn't have created such a solid foundation, then I wouldn't have been able to take 5 months off basically from working so I could take care of my dog and grieve losing him. I say take, and that's the other twisted part, right? I say take 5 months off from working, which is not true. I took my computer upstairs, I did all my work on the floor with Mac, and I did my work quickly and in small pockets of time so that I could take walks with him, so I could take him to all of his treatments, so we could spend time together. And then when he left us, I took my calls and I answered my emails, and that was it. And I went back to bed, or I went outside, or I sat with Tony and we cried like babies. Like, the space I was able to give myself exists because I learned how to master the art of getting a lot done in a way that supports my life and supports this message and supports what I'm wanting along the way. If you think about that, you have the power to create so much, but it takes a level of self-responsibility in order to do that. I was talking with a client today, and she and I were talking about different decisions around quitting things, right? Quitting addictions. We were talking about quitting addictions and how somewhere along the line it becomes cool to be like, well, at least, I'm not doing drugs, like to somebody who's like addicted to smoking cigarettes. Well, at least I'm not doing crack. what? Like, what the hell does that even mean? Oh, okay. Like, we're comparing the two. Like, they're not even, no, that's not the point. Like, what? It's so weird where we, as a society, have created some of these weird, like, reasonings behind why we do something that we know isn't good for us, right? And I was explaining, and I was like, what if we learned how to just take responsibility, no judgment, but take responsibility for the choices that we're making, right? And the consequences or benefits of those choices. To me, the world has put a negative connotation on the word consequences, when it's not. Like, consequences exist for good things and bad things. It's not just, consequences just aren't bad things. Consequences are also like the prizes that you get when you do something that's helpful for yourself, right? Like, so it's both sides. But I can't just say consequences, because people are like, oh my God, bad things? No. The good results too. It's the ripple effects, right? It's the things you get to reap from the things that you sow. We don't put enough energy into the consequences or the weight of the actions that we take, or the weight of the actions that we don't take. That's why when I say intentional living or lifestyle creation, I don't know a better way to describe it than to explain to you that we all have circumstances, some worse than others. Some worse than others. Sometimes, unfortunately, and I'll talk about that in a second, it's going to take a lot longer for someone in a different circumstance to potentially get to where you are, based upon your circumstance, blah, blah, blah. But there is a lot of, we have to take control of what we can control and responsibility for the parts that we play in our own worlds, right? So for example, if you were a victim of something and you were in a bad situation to where you had to completely rebuild everything, two things can happen, right? You can know that that was traumatic and it was sucks and it was not fair and it's unfortunate and it knocked you back 25 steps. And then each day you can take a step. And your responsibility that you're taking of this whole big picture is that you're going to take steps to move back to where, or like towards something that was similar to what was taken from you, right? Or whatever that thing is you want to recreate. Or you can be somebody who is taken back 25 steps, and because of that, we bring ourselves back even more and more and more. That's also a part we play, right? Well, so, and sometimes we do both of these things because we're people and humans have feelings, and this is things that we do. We're not perfect by any means. We have to have grace and compassion for ourselves and how we deal with things, because sometimes we need a minute. Sometimes we need a year. Sometimes we need more than that before we realize and snap, whoa, I could do something about this, and whatever. But I think the biggest thing to think of when we are dealing with things like some of your everyday struggles, we're not talking about life-altering things. We're going to go on like an everyday type of struggle, is that we do get to play a part in, or do get to accept, responsibility for the parts that we play in situations, whether it's relationship ending or leaving a job or not getting a promotion or, whatever, right? And then we get to decide what we want to do differently to achieve whatever the thing is we want to achieve. And that's where we get to put our energy and focus. What happens is when we do that the things I'm talking about right now, we react in those ways and we take, forward action, or we take calculated action, we're feeding parts of the human experience that we need to feel good and enough and worthy and forward and happy and joy and those things. So there's a balance between it though. And I think that's something that I'm like a fucking tightrope walker. Maybe that's what we're going to call me. Of the balance game. All day, every day. It's a balance game. Of permission to go sit down when I've had too much, my head hurts and I've done too much. Permission to say, hey, lazy ass, get up and go to the gym. Permission to be like, we're going to go do yoga in the living room, and that's okay too. You see what I mean? But there has to be a level of flexibility. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get at. Back in the day when I was crowned, it's funny because I didn't even realize this, but I'm wearing a shirt with like a skull with a crown on it. And on the back it says, adjust your crown. Haha. Anyway, back when I was crowned the queen of get shit done, I had no flexibility. None. Like, my doctor and I jokingly, lovingly refer to that as the rigid drill sergeant Jamie. And she did not allow me to have flexibility. Flexibility when I was sick felt like I was going to die. Flexibility felt like so much uncertainty that I couldn't breathe when I thought about allowing that, which was funny because considering that now that I have and allow flexibility, I breathe way better and I have way less anxiety and way less depression and all of those things. But it's funny how things work on themselves, right? But at that time, back then, I had no flexibility. There was no flexibility in my game. And I think there's a time and a place for that, right? Like, I want to just tell you, there was a time and a place where when I didn't have discipline and I had no idea what I was doing and I needed discipline, there was no room for flexibility for me. But in a world where flexibility doesn't exist is a world where Jamie is very sick and not happy. That's what we've learned over the past couple of years. Flexibility allows me a level of freedom that I need to be my best self. Now, we're all very different, right? And now, was that the answer 5 years ago? No, I don't think so. But is the answer to the place that I've evolved to? Yes, now. That's the cool part about working with someone, right? Is that you evolve and change, and every person is different. But because of different experiences, you know, someone's able to support you along the way. But like, the rigidity is what allowed me to survive then. And so for a long time, I was mad at the rigidity. I was mad at the need for it. And then I realized that it served a really beautiful purpose. And now I'm grateful for it. And now I have to keep it at bay, and I have to regularly be like, whoa, we don't need to be rigid there. But it's because I have that foundation that includes discipline when discipline is needed. I have the foundation that allows flexibility when flexibility is needed. And that's taken time for me to learn and taken time for me to allow myself that. I've allowed my clients and flexibility for a long time. I've allowed myself to coach people into having compassion and grace for themselves way longer than I've had it for myself. I remember one point my therapist asked me years ago, she was like, would you hold someone else to the same standard of task management and productivity that you hold yourself to? And without really thinking about what I was saying before it came out of my mouth, I said no, because that would not be fair. Or that would not be nice, something like that. And then I was like, oh shit. Like, I sat back in my chair and was like, wow, okay. There's something wrong here. That I wouldn't ask an employee that I'm paying money to operate and produce it the same way that I did, because that would be mean. Hello? Why are you being so mean to yourself and unreasonable with yourself? And a lot of that, I think a lot of our self-worth issues, and when I say our self-worth issues, the reason I'm saying that is because I've been studying this in people for 10 years or more, really. When I think back, even when I was in the body shop, started to make note of different groups of humans in different walks of life, in different industries, and different genders, and different upbringings that have these similar self-worth issues. So when I say our self-worth issues, I say that because a lot of us have that, where we don't give ourselves credit. We're not taught to say, wow, you did a lot today. You should be proud of that. Instead, it's I didn't get to this thing and this thing and this thing. Instead of like, today was a day well lived. This exhaustion I feel right now, man, it is a result of a day well lived. Tomorrow's a new day, and you let it be. Instead, we're like, I didn't do enough. I didn't get enough done. Look at that list. I still have 16 things to do. I'm a fucking failure. And then we can't sleep because we have anxiety about that. And we're sitting here thinking about all the things we didn't get done. And what are we going to, how are we ever going to get them done? And blah, 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 blah. And there we go. It's twisted when you think about it. No wonder people's anxiety is at an all-time high. Their confidence is at an all-time low. People are grasping for straws everywhere. They're investing money in people who scream at them because they don't feel worthy. And they don't know what else to do. It's a tricky place. Anyway, back to my whole point here, I think, was just basically to say, like, how funny is it that I've spent a couple of years really not wanting you or the, the masses, the humans out in the world to say, yeah, that's Jamie. She gets shit done. She's a productivity expert. When that is absolutely truth about me. And I'm also an expert at creating happiness. Like real happiness that lasts and you can recreate it and figure out ways to create calm and peace and grounding and roots. That's the piece, right? It's interesting when you think about it. The things that we try to continue to put ourselves in a box, or all of a sudden we're like, I am not that thing. And it's like, what if, Jamie, you take your own advice and remember that you are a mosaic made up of so many beautiful pieces. And that's why you're you. And that's why people pay you for being you. Because of who you are and all of those pieces. And you can take that statement I just made right there, and you can put it into any industry and any profession and realize, because there's 100 people doing the same thing, thousands of people in some cases. People will identify with you because of who you are and how you do it. So that's the part you have to remember. We're going to leave it at that, my friends. I hope you found some nuggets through that. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, wherever you are. And I love you. Goodbye.